Old people, welcome back. Episode 17 of Season 2 of
Uh-huh.
Tabletop Tuesday. Getting closer and closer to our spring Kill Team event at Geeky Teas and Games in beautiful downtown Burbank. Oh joy, oh rapture. Even though we're getting closer to spring, today it is snowing in Portland.
Oh,
And we
really?
have
Wow.
we have a we have a blanket of white draped along the land. I'm Curtis Anderson, and with me is,
How beautiful. I'm Dan.
yeah, of course, you probably recognize Dan from the most popular show on this channel,
That's right.
Mech Warrior Monday.
That's right. Oh, not Assassin's Creed Chronicles China.
That while a fine playthrough,
It's
uh,
fine.
it is not as popular as Mech Warrior Monday or
Mm-mm.
our current playthrough,
Mm-mm.
which is the expansion of Mutant Year Zero, Seed of Evil.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you're not watching Seed of Evil,
3 episodes will be out by the time you see this.
and it is great. It is great.
0 Puppet Master has been used so far. Not
Much to
once.
my chagrin.
Not once.
Much to my chagrin.
That's going to be one of those things that I actually recorded an episode recently that I went, oh, Puppet Master. Oh, right. I used to enjoy using that because it's just, it's been so long.
It has been a while.
And
I'm sure there's a...
I'm getting
yeah.
back into the swing of things. And so there are going to be many things like that where I go, oh, yeah.
There was a fight
It's
in
been a
episode
year.
2 that I was particularly upset you didn't use Puppet Master on.
Yes, I know.
I think that
you
I think
commented
that
3
tank.
times. I had to put you in the in the drunk tank for that. All
Just
caps.
saying, that
3
tank-
comments, Curtis. All in
the-
capital letters, not
The
necessary.
tank could have been Puppet Mastered.
Tanks are
and
very
then-
difficult to puppet master. They're difficult to They're not easy targets.
One of the jumpers
For
could have
some
been
reason.
Puppet Mastered.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. It could
Yeah.
have been.
Just saying. I look forward to... So what you're
Yeah.
telling me is, for the rest of the week, episodes 2, 3, 4, I shouldn't be looking forward to Puppet Master being pulled out of the repertoire.
I believe in episode 4 you'll see an attempt.
Okay.
I think it's episode 4.
All right. Well,
Soon.
if you're not already watching, go ahead and check out the playlist. And I do
Ciao.
hope that you enjoy that, because it's
Pachow.
it's really nice to see Dan doing real-time strategy again, or turn-based strategy.
Turn-based strategy.
Turn-based
Not real
strategy
time at
again.
all.
Yeah.
Well, it is
I have
actually
really...
a hybrid of the two, because it's real time until you are in combat. So you have real time opportunities to set up your ambushes and choose your targets and things like that. But then the actual combat is turn based. Yeah. So I enjoy that hybrid. I'm looking forward to. Oh no, I can't say that yet.
Okay.
That'll be later in the episode.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Well, let's skip on to the next bit then. What are you drinking today, Dan?
I have a cocktail that, okay. For those of you who don't know, I am also one of the 2 hosts of the Hero's Journey podcast. On that podcast, we have a beverage break between acts 2 and 3 of the film, in which we either make a cocktail or we find some other existing beverage, like a beer, that matches the theme of the episode. So this episode that I'm currently editing now, which will be out Tuesday, the same day this episode comes out, actually,
On the 28th. Yep.
is Tombstone, the 1993 Western Tombstone. And for that, I found a cocktail recipe called a revolver.
Oh, okay. I really
Well,
thought you were going to say there was
it's
one called
called-
I'm your Huckleberry.
It's called Revolver, actually. But anyway, this is a relatively new cocktail and the reason I'm drinking it now is because I had to make one and then take a photograph of it, because we put pictures of our beverages on the Hero's Journey podcast.com website. And I said that like my mom probably would have said it, on the Hero's Journey podcast.com website. Anyhow, so I had to make one to take a picture of it so I could send it to Jeff. So I figured I might as well just drink it, right?
Nice.
So we have here, it looks very much like an old fashioned, except it's a little darker because it's got 2 ounces of bourbon, half an ounce of Kahlua, which is what makes it darker, 2 dashes of orange bitters, and then somewhere floating around in there is an orange peel that you then whoop. I almost just dropped this. That would have been
a disaster.
Sad day. So that's what I've got for today, and I don't feel bad revealing this because no one's gonna miss out, or no one's gonna get. These come out on the same day, so it's not like
no spoiler.
I'm not gonna ruin the surprise. Yeah.
No spoiler. No spoiler.
So for people who are, and I think there's a handful of people who are patrons of the podcast and also viewers of this channel. I'm thinking Nelson. I'm thinking Joseph. Forgive me if I'm forgetting anybody else, but those folks will actually get to see the beverage because the podcast is audio only. What do you have?
And just so people know, link to the Hero's Journey podcast is down below in the doobly-doo. I'm mixing it up today, Dan.
Okay. Oh.
I'm mixing it up today.
Not Spindrift?
No.
What do you have, Gatorade?
No, it's a
Look
special
at you
release.
With an actual beer.
Yes, Ninkasi Brewing.
Uh-huh.
This is the Wheat Rapids.
Wheat Rapids.
Wheat Rapids. It's a Belgian white. It's got tasting notes of orange, coriander, and refreshing. It's 5.5%.
Notes of refreshing?
Tasting notes of refreshing.
Okay, looking forward to that.
5.5% alcohol by volume, 15 IBUs. This is a limited release beer.
All right.
And it has a California redemption value of 10 cents.
Nobody cares about that.
No.
Just drink the damn thing.
It was the last thing I had.
What does it taste like?
It tastes delightful. I have had several of these, and I am just drinking one on the oh wow, just having that in my nose.
So you like Belgian wheat beers?
I never would have thought that I did. I really like this a lot. And this is the second week in a row when it is dastardly cold outside.
Yep.
Snow literally falling as we speak. And I'm drinking something that I would be very comfortable drinking on a float down the river.
You're just testing it.
Yeah. Getting it ready.
Because the float is coming in a few months.
Like, based on this, probably 6. Probably not till July or August.
We don't have the same kind of weather that you're having, but a couple of raindrops did hit my window and then immediately dried up.
Oh, wow.
And that was about it. There are some dark clouds forming, but it's supposed to rain in a couple of days. But
you are in the high desert.
Not
sometimes the rain evaporates before it hits the ground.
That's right.
It is very warm in Southern California.
Can be.
Yeah. How was your week?
Fine, uneventful, I guess. Just plugging away, making videos.
Is the apartment put back together?
Yes, just about all of the pictures are now hanging. The ones that I haven't hung are because I think maybe I want to put them somewhere else, and we haven't agreed on where to put them. But
do you do a knife fight to decide who wins when the decision about where to put things are?
Is that how things are settled in your house?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We do Klingon battle rituals to decide how things will be done. Renee is scrappy, yes. And I have her blade has tasted blood more than mine.
she just heard her name, so she's going to be in a couple of minutes to defend herself.
She can't
So-
be. She's in a meeting right now.
So
in the other office.
interruption by Renee in
Yeah.
3, 2.
I told you she can't. She's
Nothing.
in a meeting.
Nothing.
No,
Oh wow.
no,
Okay.
she's stuck.
I've
She's stuck.
okay.
Expect.
She has become a regular feature on this show. So I was maybe later.
later.
Maybe later. All right.
Later.
How's your week?
Well, that actually goes into our first segment, our weekly progress.
No games for old men.
So, remember I had big goals last week? I was going to finish the commission so
Yeah.
that I could box everything up and ship it off to Ian.
But it's snowing.
Well, that isn't the issue as much as it was Renee's birthday weekend.
Ah, okay.
And we had a 4-day weekend up here. And
What? Why? How?
because it was the weekend,
Yes.
and then it was President's Day,
Uh-huh.
and then it was Renee's birthday, and Renee gets her birthday off at her job. So
She takes her birthday off, or do you mean she gets it off?
No,
Like,
that's
a
just-
standard thing.
that's a
for
standard
that company. You get
Yeah.
your birthday off.
yeah, that's actually been at several companies that I've
For
worked at
free?
too.
Or I mean, is that
It's
a
a paid holiday.
paid holiday? It's not. She doesn't have to use PTO.
Mm-mm.
Really?
That in fact, the last
That's pretty
two
great.
jobs that I've worked as well have had birthdays off as a paid holiday.
I have never had a job like that.
Normalize getting your birthday
agree.
off as paid as holiday.
I agree.
So we had a big birthday weekend for Renee,
Okay.
and because of that, I did nothing but celebrate Renee for
Great.
4 days straight.
Great. You two
and-
sat there and painted together, and
No.
built new
We did-
scenery together.
we
Into the
did,
Dark scenery is
We
done.
we did involve ourselves in local Portland culture. We went to several event spaces. We went to bars and restaurants, and we saw people that we like, and just brought in the new Annam with verve and flair.
Great.
And Saturday I really did myself in, and Sunday recovered from Saturday, and then did it all again
Little
on
hair of the
Monday and
dog.
Tuesday. Oof. 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 Some of the drinks were so small, but they were so cheap
So
that
you have to have a lot of them.
I did, and that was
So-
the problem.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Good.
yeah, good times. How was your progress?
My progress after I finished clearing out the area in the corner where my painting station is, I started practicing with the magnifier.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And boy, is that disorienting. I keep hitting the magnifier with the back of my brush because I'm trying. I just did it with my microphone. My depth perception is completely jacked. It's tough. It's tough. I did make some progress though in getting the sabatons and the lettering on the sabatons and on the chest pieces and on some of the weapons. Some of the heavy weapons have a word, stenciled on them or carved
Right.
into them, I suppose. And my idea, what I want is for that to be black and then the lettering to be gold so it really pops.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started working on that I used like dark tone from Army Painter to get that into those recesses. And so I've got one coat of that on everybody. And then I'm going to do a second coat because some of it is drying kind of a dark gray, which means it's not, and it's on a gray base coat, which is telling me that it's drying thin. And so I'm going to put in another coat and then I'll be able to work on the lettering.
You might want to really
But
water down
one
your
of-
base black and try that too. It might cover a little bit more, end up being a little more opaque.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the other things I've been working on is just going around edges of things particularly the elements where I've got a shoulder that has where I'm kind of practicing doing heraldry, so like half red, half white or something, and just really trying to make that line a lot finer. And it's really interesting to look at that the way I did it without, just with my naked eyes and think, wow, that looks pretty straight. And then to look at it at 2.5 magnification and see it's not straight at all. It's just like, blah, 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 blah. It's like there was an earthquake going on. It looks like a seismic meter. And so that's what I'm trying to work on now too. And I really think that the quality of my final product will be much better once I get the hang of it. It's going to be really slow though, because I keep having to adjust the distance I am to the magnifier, and then the distance I'm holding the mini on the other side of the magnifier to leave enough room so that it's magnified enough that it makes sense to be using this lamp,
Right.
but also not so I don't keep going bonk, 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 hitting the back of or hitting the underside of the magnifier with the back of the brush. Because that happens, then I go split, and then it just...
And then you got to fix a whole bunch of things.
Damn, so that's happening too. So
I get so many nose points on my glass because my face will just hit
really? You get
when I
that
lean.
Close?
Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, especially if I'm like really into something, I'll just be like, but
okay.
yeah, so I get what you're saying. I'll just be like, boop.
It is a major adjustment period. I've never worked with anything like this before, except like I said several episodes ago, the one time I tried yours when we had a painting party, and I just almost threw up because it was so I got seasick. And that's happening a little bit now, but the more I practice with it, I'll just get accustomed to it. So
I can't imagine painting without magnification now, because it's
with
become
the eyes, with the way the eyes are, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Ninjon also uses like glasses style, like jeweler magnifiers.
Oh, interesting.
He wears them like that. But I got to believe that the lamp light has got to be better for you too.
Yes. Yeah. Because it is a daylight lamp and it's really close to the model. It's not like a lamp that's up here that's shining down. It's that by the time it diffuses as it spreads. But this is just like a spotlight onto the mini. So it's better, yes. Nice.
Well, that's great, man. Well, that's really good. That's really good. I'm excited to see those work in progress pictures.
I'm not sure. Well, I guess I'll have to maybe I'll take a picture of a guy that I haven't done this to yet, and then take another picture after I'm finished and compare them A/B.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
If you can actually, with the naked eye, see the difference.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
I hope so.
Oh well, dude, that's great. Oh, well, we had progress.
I actually got some painting done. Yes, I am back on the horse.
Awesome.
Felt
awesome.
Felt good. Now I just need to find something to listen to while I am painting.
Huh.
Good audio.
You don't say. This would be a perfect opportunity for me to mention our sponsor, but we don't have one. So, I guess that's our weekly progress.
I thought you were dropping news.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be awesome? Ugh. But that would be the perfect place to drop a thing. I guess I could say, listen to the Hero's Journey podcast, but that's your own podcast. You don't want to listen to yourself.
Audible hopes you've enjoyed this program.
Well, okay. We've got a big other tabletop things. Should we get right to it?
I think we need to.
No games for old men.
Last week, we talked about the growing concern over larger corporate-owned games, Wizards of the Coast, Games Workshop, primarily those two, but also big
I think it was
IPs
pretty much
like Star
exclusively
Wars.
those two.
Well, and we also mentioned Star Wars.
But who owns
And
Star Wars? Isn't that the role playing game or the tabletop games? Who
tabletop game
owns
is
that?
actually
Isn't
Atomic
it?
Games.
Oh, it's not Wizards.
Mm-mm.
Did they used to? Did Hasbro used to own that?
I
don't know. I had that in my
honestly,
head that Star Wars was a D20 system owned and operated by our friends and family who run the Dur and Dur.
well, the
Maybe I'm
D20
wrong.
system, the Star Wars D20 was made under the OGL.
I get that.
Yeah.
I thought that, okay, maybe I misspoke by bringing up the D20 years and years and years ago when I first became aware of a Star Wars role playing game.
Mm.
I thought that it was. I must be wrong because otherwise you would have immediately agreed with me. So I must be wrong. So let's move on.
I mean,
Doesn't
I
matter.
I honestly don't remember, but I was talking more about Star Wars Legion versus Shatterpoint,
Okay.
and
Right.
those are skirmish games. But we'd mentioned that there are a slew of independent games that are available, and so this week I wanted to talk about some, and
Okay.
I want to be very specific to the listening audience. These are ones that I picked out because they're interesting to me. I then took all those links and I threw them at Dan and said, check these links out so you can see what I want to talk about this week. But this list is by no means exhaustive. By no means at all. And I'm sure that
no.
your favorite is probably not going to be on here. So this is a perfect opportunity for you to mention in the comments, in the short, on the Instagrams and the Tickety Talks,
Right.
all of the games that we missed that you like to play. And specifically, I'm only looking at tabletop role-playing games and miniature skirmish games. Not really looking to pick up another army game, but miniature skirmish games and tabletop role-playing games. So that's what we're talking about today in no particular order. Of course, all the links for these, basically the list that I sent Dan, will be available down in the doobly-doo below.
We did have a viewer last week when we were talking about when is it time to abandon the big company game and go look for something smaller. And someone said, hey, it's time to pick up Battletech. So
Right.
we know about Battletech.
We have picked up, and we have
actually
picked up
have
Battletech.
You have seen the unboxing that Curtis already did about Battletech. So we don't need to hear about Battletech. We know it. He's bringing it down during the spring for our
Yep.
spring game. We might play it. So yeah, we don't need to hear about Battletech. We know all about it.
Also, Battletech is technically owned by Topps, which is a very big company. So, yeah. And I think we may be skating the edge on a couple of these, but a lot of these are indie. Like
Yeah.
literally two guys in a garage.
Yeah, this is like saying that BattleTech is made by an indie or a small publisher is like saying A24 Studios is one of the
An independent release.
is an independent film producer because they're not Disney, Fox, Paramount, so Warner
Yeah.
Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, A24 is huge in terms of, well, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate.
Anybody that can get a line of credit that's $300 million to be able to make a series of 20 movies a year, that's fine. Anyway, so I'm going to start with one of my favorites that I've discovered that I've been interested in kind of tricking everybody into playing. But I don't think that anybody's got the bandwidth in our group, the No Games for Old Men group, to pick this one up.
Okay.
But maybe if you like it, you might help me change minds. And that's Blades in the Dark. Did you read the Blades in the Dark description?
No, because it wouldn't load.
Oh, no kidding.
The site wouldn't load.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, Blades in the
I
Dark.
refreshed and I sat there and I refreshed and I closed my browser and I reopened it and I followed your link again, and it just would never load. So I have no idea what you're about to talk about.
That is astounding. Okay, I want to see if it will. It's opening for me right now.
Let me try it. Let me try it right now.
Okay.
Oh yeah, popped immediately up. I don't know what happened before. Like it took a fraction of a second to just pop up. Okay.
So from Evil Hat Publishing, Blades in the Dark is what happens when you have an entire party of rogues in D&D. It is your opportunity to have a villain group go through and have adventures in fantasy.
Oh, that bronze girl played it.
That
one of the example videos of gameplay or reviews, sorry, is that bronze girl.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not being offensive. That's literally her username is that bronze girl. She works with Jesse Cox a lot. She's got a weekly Marvel themed podcast that she does with Jesse Cox, and it's me JP.
This game has also been voted one of the best 2 years in a row of new tabletop RPGs.
Voted by whom?
I don't know.
By whomst? By players?
Polygon,
or by
Polygon, IGN.
By
nerd publications,
review sites. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it is an exciting way to be, and it's story based. So instead of having a whole lot of crunch, it's more about building a really big story of you and your pack of ne'er-do-wells going around and committing heists. And so if you like things like Ocean's 11, but you'd like it in a fantasy setting, and you also don't mind kind of being a little bit, then Blades in the Dark is probably the game for you.
Dastardly, I believe, is the word to describe the sound you just made.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any thoughts on Blades in the Dark?
It's
based on that description.
With our group,
we almost play that way as is.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, this is not a game that we should play with our group. I can see how it would be a fun game to play with people who are gonna do it right and not just. I don't. Okay, let me back up. Are you supposed to be a team? Or well, it's a role-playing game, so I guess you could have somebody who's like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait until we have the treasure and we're on the way out, and then I'm gonna murder my companions and take everything for myself."
It's certainly a possibility.
Certainly
but
could have a dean like a person like that who would take that type of action.
But it does from everything that I've read and seen about Blades in the Dark, it looks like a real kick in the pants, and
kick in the
and
pants.
I think that would be a hell of a game to play.
Okay.
Speaking of hell,
and $30 for the book.
Not bad at all.
And
it's 328 pages.
And is this a single book game?
My impression
or
is
are
yes.
There hundreds and hundreds of expansion books that you can get like Dur.
No, it doesn't work like that. It's everything that you need to play is included. So and then they make things like your play sheets and your player kits and stuff free downloads. So when we look at indie games like this kind of reminds me of back in the early 90s when we used to play. There wasn't even necessarily the internet yet because that was still coming, but like we would be able to build all of these things out of like paper and pencils and a couple rulers and stuff, and then people created all this stuff. It feels like the community build things that I remember when we were younger, when we were first starting to play, where you'd get like a lot of things that were included as opposed to, well, here's this book, and then you can buy these player sheets, and then you can do this and that.
Right.
So that is another nice thing about Blades in the Dark is that, like many of the games we're going to talk about today, not only is the game itself extraordinarily affordable, but a lot of the support stuff, like character sheets or record sheets or things like that are all available for free as a download that you can just print off on your own.
And I find that interesting because if you're not selling anything, where's your money?
It's coming from the
how are you
main
earning
game.
anything?
It's coming like you get the book and the PDF for Blades in the Dark and for several of these other games coming for $30. They're making the $30.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, but anything else? I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Next up,
I will say Blades in the Dark is less interesting to me because I'm having a crisis of role-playing game participation right now.
Got it.
So those are, but I can certainly see the appeal. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think these next two might hit a little bit closer to home. Both of these are from Snarling Badger Studios, which is Vinci V and Uncle Adam. They did a studio together. They've made 2 games so far.
Is that right?
Yes, because they're both out of Wisconsin. And
Uncle Adam, no way. Okay, that explains why he's got why there are Tabletop Minions videos for both of these games. I was like, oh wow, that's cool that he got. Nope, it's his company.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't know that. Okay.
So the first one is Rain and Hell. It is a skirmish game that is model agnostic, and you build a crew of demons to beat all the other crews of demons so that you can rule hell.
You can rule hell. Yeah, I like the fact that you can use any miniature you want.
You're going to find that this
$10.
list has a lot of model agnostic things on it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah, you paid $10, you were saying?
Yeah, you heard me.
Paid $10, get to play whatever you got.
That's right.
Yeah.
$10 for the rules, and you can use any minis you want. You don't have to. You're not limited to Games Workshop plastics.
And for people who like to 3D print, there are
Oh my God.
STLs that have been created specifically for Rain and Hell.
There, yeah. Well,
some
yeah,
folks,
I imagine.
Yeah, some folks decided this is pretty cool. Let's make a bunch of demons. And so
But there are so many like really cool demon figures out there already from existing miniatures publishers like Reaper or whoever else. I don't know.
That's kind of the nice thing about Rain and Hell. Yeah, because you probably already have enough demons to play that game.
I think your pink minotaur with the ice cream cone definitely belongs on your demon party.
It lives at Scott's house right now.
Does he have it? I wondered where it
He
went.
does.
I thought Secret Dean ended up with all of our minis after we all scattered to the winds.
No, they all got moved to Scott's house.
Did
Scott
they?
has all my old D&D cases full of
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then
not
he's
D&D, Games
then
Workshop cases.
He kickstarted the Reaper Bones line. So he's
When
got
that first happened.
all of them. Thousands, I think, of miniatures. Maybe hundreds, many hundreds, but he's got a ton.
I remember
It all needs to be painted, folks. It all needs to be painted.
Well, remember we did the one painting party. I think that was the painting party where you used my lamp.
That's correct.
Where we tried to get a bunch done, and
That's correct.
we got maybe a handful done.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're not good at painting.
Not fast. Not
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
The next one from Snarling Badger Studios is another miniature agnostic, but this time sci-fi, Space Station Zero. Space Station Zero has an interesting story in that this game isn't just like show up and fight your opponent. Space Station Zero can actually be played by yourself. They added a solo game version for Rain and Hell, but Space Station Zero you can just play all alone. And it actually takes you through a 24 24 adventure campaign to try and find your way out of Space Station Zero, which is a space station caught in the middle of the universe that is far away from any other local star. And so if you get trapped there, you're likely stuck there forever. And so a bunch of ships have all gotten lost there. And so crews are just trying to find their way out of this giant, enormous space station out in the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like nightmare fuel.
Right? Like, if you like Grimdark, but you really don't want to play in the Warhammer universe anymore, it doesn't get much grimmer or darker than trapped in the middle of the universe, and even having a faster than light ship doesn't mean that doesn't mean you can escape, like Space Station Zero.
And both of these, Reign in Hell and Space Station Zero, it makes sense for them to be miniatures agnostic, because you think that, okay, there's a space station in the middle of the universe. Who knows what species from wherever, whatever galaxies would come from wherever and whenceever and end up here. And maybe even being dumped there by the warp if you really want to use your Warhammer 40K models, then that makes sense that you could have miniatures from all different lines and miniatures makers.
Yeah.
Same thing with Reign in Hell. Like, demons are wide and they don't all look alike.
Yeah.
A demon is an abomination. It could look like anything. Really, it doesn't have to have cloven hooves and a big muscular red torso and a minotaur head or something.
Right.
It doesn't have to look like that.
It could look like just a regular human. It could be a possessed human for all you know.
So I like the miniatures agnostic. It makes narrative sense.
Yeah.
For both of these games, and that's cool that they designed games with that in mind. And I don't know if this is true, but I feel like Reign in Hell was designed first.
It was.
And then Space Station Zero, and while they were doing Space Station Zero, they said, let's do a solo campaign. And then they thought, ooh, well, maybe Reign in Hell would benefit from that too. So then they went back and did the solo campaign, the extra download for that, because that's available separately. I'm seeing here.
You're almost correct.
So
you're almost correct. The solo campaign for Reign in Hell was a audience request. So they did that one before they released Space Station Zero.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then when designing Space Station Zero, they just decided to nip that in the bud and include it.
Yeah. Correct.
Got it.
Correct. So yeah. So while we're not sponsored, first of all, we are not sponsored by any of these games. I am literally just mentioning them because I like them. So no discount codes or anything. But again, you'll be able to find all of these in the doobly-doo down below.
No discount codes.
Now here's the one that people, once we started this section of the show, have been yelling at the screen about over everything we've said during the last 3 games, and that is one-page rules.
Okay.
One-page rules is the kind of instant alternative that people generally jump to when they've decided they're done with Games Workshop. It is one page front and back of rules to be able to play games that are very similar to Warhammer 40K, Warhammer Kill Team, Age of Sigmar, and the skirmish variants of all of those things. One page rules is, again, miniatures agnostic. They don't care what you put down as long as it can be, but you would not be wrong in thinking that the character classes and things that they have certainly resemble a certain company out of Nottingham's builds. But the rules are extraordinarily streamlined so that they can fit on a front and back page. And I have not played it myself, but people who have played it really evangelize for this rule set. Big fans. big fans. In fact, if you are a one page rules player, tell us about it in the comments. I don't even think I had to say anything, because apparently, like veganism, they have no problem telling you that they are one page rules players. But but it is really neat to be able to see how that goes. The rules themselves are actually pretty clean, and there are occasional times when, even not playing, just reading the rules, I can see there being like, well, what if this happens? But if you're playing in the spirit of, I want to play some games and not, I want to win a tournament based on one page rules, then I think that probably wouldn't be an issue. Have you heard of one page rules before?
No, I'm looking at the categories here. They have Grimdark Future, the sci-fi battle game. There's also Grimdark Future Firefight.
That's the skirmish game.
Skirmish game.
Mm-hmm.
For you fantasy fans, there's Age of, not Sigmar, but Age of Fantasy and Age of Fantasy Skirmish.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get your AOS and your, what is it?
Warcry.
Warcry on.
Yeah.
There's also Age of Fantasy Regiments, which is a regimental. I'm not sure how does that differ?
That's more like Warhammer Fantasy.
It's got to be a mid-range between battle and skirmish.
It's actually separate. So Age of Fantasy is a replacement for Age of Sigmar. So it's units working independently. Regiments goes back to Warhammer Fantasy where they're rank and file.
Got it.
And it's more positioning based. So yeah.
Understood. I know so little about Age of Sigmar because it just doesn't interest me that I didn't know that they had issued the regiments function. I thought Age of Sigmar was just Warhammer Fantasy and they just came up with a cooler name for it.
It is a completely new game.
Got it. Okay.
And it's simple, but still tactically interesting. It took a couple editions for it to really grow into itself, but it is a really neat game now. But like you, the world of Age of Sigmar doesn't really interest me, so I've never gotten into it. But as a game, it is definitely it is a very different flavor from 40K or Original Fantasy, so much so that they're bringing out Warhammer Old World, which is bringing back that Warhammer Fantasy style of play with rank and file regiments and movement trays and everything.
Okay. Yeah, but at a 6% increase from what they were. Sorry, 6 to 21% increase. So we're not interested in that because that's why we're talking about indie games.
That's correct.
These are the alternatives to Games Workshop.
Yep. Yeah, good old James making trouble.
I am James Workshop.
The next one on our list is another role-playing game, and this one I have played and am very interested in, and this is Coriolis.
Oh, okay.
Coriolis is takes a lot of role-playing games that we play, especially here in the US, really benefit from Western and European mythologies when you're playing them. So you've got Viking lore, you've got Judeo-Christian myths, you've got the idea of gods, angels, avatars, things like that, magic, etc. Coriolis is, what if Morocco and Northern Africa was the dominant cultural trait instead of things that are like Hollywood or Western European around the world?
Is it more Muslim and Eastern religion inspired?
Eastern philosophy, yes.
Okay.
So again, it's a giant space station out in the middle of nowhere. And humans have found these special stargates and have discovered worlds. So if you're familiar with like the rings in this is a bad time to forget a book series that was a sci-fi series. Remember what I'm talking about?
Cognitive decline.
Cognitive decline.
100%. I actually have to look. I have to know the books.
Are you talking about Ringworld?
No.
Discworld.
No. No, it's hard sci-fi.
Mass Effect.
No. Caliban's War is part of it. It's
The Expanse.
The Expanse.
That's not hard sci-fi, brother. That is not hard sci-fi.
Are you kidding me? It
The
totally
Expanse?
is.
No,
The
it absolutely
Expanse.
is not. You have not read hard sci-fi if you think The Expanse is hard sci-fi.
The
My friend,
engine
my brother in
my
Christ.
God. Wow.
My brother in Christ, no.
In the comments,
No.
is The Expanse hard sci-fi or not? I'm looking for support.
You're not going to get it.
If you're familiar with
not gonna get it.
if you're familiar with the medium sci-fi of The Expanse and the ring dimensional doors that are in that series.
No, The Expanse is space opera, not hard sci-fi. I'm sorry, it's not.
I don't have time for this fight with you. I have to describe Coriolis.
That's why I could not even fathom that you would be considering it when you were trying to clue me into it with your ridiculous hard sci-fi.
Oh my God.
Anyway, let me send you a couple of books.
There are dimensional
Educate
doors.
yourself.
Dimensional doors.
I'm kidding.
There's
Watch.
space
It's gonna
station.
be like 300 people are gonna make comments in here. Oh, Expanse is totally hard sci-fi, and put me in my place.
Yep, you're gonna get it. So your party is a crew of a ship, and there are different career categories that you can fall in. The group that I played this game with created a traveling circus that was actually a cult in disguise trying to spread their religion.
Cool.
And there are ancient monsters called the Darkness Between the Stars that actually
What a great name.
affect the things that you do in the story. And so every time you travel, there's an opportunity for the darkness between the stars to interfere with your objectives. And a really neat dice system that goes along with it. Unfortunately, many of our members of this group moved before we really got too deep into it, but the book itself is the depth of the lore, how everything works, the idea of this Northern African and Eastern philosophy overlay of everything just gives it's such a beautiful book, and the artwork is amazing. And
I'm looking at
stepping it away. Isn't that
first volume
gorgeous?
right now, The Third Horizon. That is an incredible. If that was a video game, I would buy it.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you're
And
going to
play
see
it
all
for the
these
channel.
pictures here as well. But yeah, it's a really neat game. Again, into hard role play. You have to be able to measure out like things like your fate dice and things like that, so that you've got the luck to be able to get through the things that you go through. And the map of the space station is outrageous. It's just so detailed and so deep. We spent several sessions just around 3 shops in one section.
Oh my gosh.
It was. If you were interested in the political machinations of Deep Space Nine, but always wondered what it would be like to be on a real space station of enormous size, Coriolis is a great way to experience that.
All right.
Yeah.
It looks neat. I think of the ones that you have mentioned so far, that one piques my interest the most, but it's probably not one I'll ever get the opportunity to play, I don't think.
I also know how to run Coriolis, so
it's a real
if we
shame
can,
that it would
if we
never
could
get
convince the
opportunity.
fellas, we can do it. We can do it. We have the power. We have the power.
So I'll probably
I got all the stuff.
Die before I ever get the chance. That's a real shame. But I hope those of you out there who get the chance to play Coriolis really have a fun time with it.
Speaking of dying before you get a chance to play it, our next one is Arc Doom. Or ARC Doom. I'm actually not sure which one it is. But this one has been rated #1 across the board. Like when I was looking at publications who rate and review role-playing games, this one consistently hit the top of the charts for a variety of different things.
Okay.
It is an end-of-the-world game. The apocalypse is happening. And your game lasts for however much time in real time. So if you want to play for 4 hours, you set a timer for 4 hours, and everything you do takes the amount of time that it would take, and that's how long you have before the world ends. So if you want to rest for 10 minutes to get back some hit points, it's real 10 minutes. If you want to perform some kind of magical thing that takes 3 minutes to cast, it takes 3 minutes to cast. And at the end of the game,
okay,
you're dead. In one of the descriptions that I read, it said it gives a very visceral and very real feel to your action economy, because your action economy isn't just a series of steps. It now becomes a time-consuming role-playing event. And so it sounds really, really neat. Again, this is another narrative-focused game, like Blades in the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to build a story,
right?
And you're building a story that that has a definitive ending. Every session is a one-and-done game.
Okay.
Yeah.
My least favorite of role-playing games formats, but the narrative here piques my interest. The fact that there's a doomsday clock, and when it strikes 0, you're done. And that would be an interesting one. That's one that I start wondering, how would that look with our group?
Yeah. I think there would be a real come to Jesus moment after the first game of like, oh, that was different. And then they'd probably take it a little bit more seriously. But gone would be the days of Jeff picking up his miniature and just moving it around a room and being like, I search all this.
I don't think so. I think there would be some hurt feelings. I don't think our group would handle this one well.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
It's also a genre agnostic rule set. So you can play it in the fantasy world.
Yeah, that's neat.
It could be Call of Cthulhu.
Yep.
And when the clock is done, Cthulhu rises up and calls the old ones down. You know, it could be a 1940s World War II. Everybody's got nukes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be really exciting.
Yeah.
That one seems really exciting.
There's a lot that you can do with that. You just come up with some kind of doomsday scenario. Like even if you're on a, well, pair it with Coriolis. You're on a or Space Station 0. You're on a space station in the middle that's lost power maybe and lost life support, and you've got 4 hours of life support. So what are you going to do with those last 4 hours? I don't know.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like, what is the point? Why play that? I don't want to play that game, because why What?
I think it's neat to build a story that would have tension, and it's kind of like how I like watching horror movies. I like the tension and the fear that they raise, and then it comes to an end and everything is satisfied. You know what I mean? Like it's done. And I think this game would play very much like that. Also, you really want to help. Like I feel like Arc Doom would really help build the idea of consequences into a role-playing group. And because every session is a single one and done session, let's say your group is maybe having a problem being earnest about the game that you're playing. and uh and maybe they need to understand consequences a little bit better. This game provides some instant karma when it comes to here are the consequences of your actions in a game. Not that I'm speaking from experience at all. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I suspect that it would just turn into a murder spree. What difference does it make? We've got 3 hours to live. I'm gonna go on a murder and orgy spree. Like
That's fair.
that doesn't sound fun to me.
I think that
I
that's
would
really
feel like
nihilistic of you.
I would be more interested in like how legitimate is this doomsday event? Can we reverse it? Is there anything we can do in the next 4 hours to stop this? Or is there any way we can escape it if you're on like a space station that's losing life
Atmosphere or
support?
something.
Like, is there
Yeah.
some way that we can escape this? That would be what I think my character would want to do, but I feel like it would really easily just turn into people's just wow. The
That was
wind, it's like
I
there's
was
a
gonna say
tornado or something outside.
there was
Um,
a shadow that crossed your face on that. That was I don't know what flashed by your window, but something
Mhm.
happened.
Yeah. There's a 747 cartwheeling across the sky. Uh so I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just this one I'm on the fence about. It sounds interesting, and the fact that it has been voted highly by
A lot of people really
people,
like it.
I'm sure there are people out there that really are doing a good job of playing the narrative, creating a story. I don't think that's our group.
It might not be, but I think it's worth having. I mean, I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt on this and see, but who knows? Who knows? We'll see how the GURPS campaign goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next one on the list is one that I think is really, really neat. And it's called Cyber Plus Punk. But cyber is spelled CBR,
Uh-huh.
the plus sign, and then PNK. It is a cyberpunk role playing game, but everything is in pamphlets. So instead of buying a book or anything like that, you buy adventure pamphlets that are trifold and have everything you need to play in the pamphlet.
Hmm.
And they just create adventures that way, so you can play ones that you want, you can buy extra ones, and it looks really, really, really neat. And of course, I'm already a cyberpunk fan, so being able to play in that world is something that's exciting to me.
Yeah. I understand that. For me, the fact that they're one shots, again, I have no interest in role playing game one shots.
Mm.
I don't get it. I don't see it.
You like campaigns. You don't even like doing shorts on our YouTube channel.
That is correct, Curtis. You are finally seeing the truth of who I am.
I hear
Yep.
you. I
Yep.
see you. It's detrimental to our plans, but I hear you. I see you.
You know, I don't have to be the one that creates the shorts.
Apparently not. Okay. Well, then let's move on to the next one. Court of Blades. Now, I'll be honest, I know very little about Court of Blades. The whole reason it even came on my radar is just because I like the aesthetic of it.
Okay.
It has a real Renaissance flourish to it, like musketeers and swashbucklers and swords and pistols, and it was in the top 20 of tabletop role PGs for 2022 by Gizmodo, and it takes place in a vibrant fantasy Renaissance city-state of Ireland, in a world populated by scheming normals, court magicians, and dashing duelists.
Scheming normals.
It's built on the Forged in the Dark system, so it's a fiction first D6 game, which means that you're building a narrative more than you're worrying about the crunch. And you'll see a lot of the games that I picked are about really telling a story as opposed to hard crunchy rules.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So what it does is it lets you build these really big adventure stories. And that really appeals to me. Just the idea of being in a blousy shirt and tight pants with a rapier and just being like, ha-ha!
Smacking people around with your jacket.
Yep. Smack, smack.
Oliver Reed style.
Yep. And even the character sheets are like pretty. They're all like
pretty
filigreed,
okay.
And they've got all kinds of like side stuff and yeah. There's a Paramore section in the character sheet, and again, I don't know anything about this game, but it has little hearts next to the Paramore section that measures the heat of your Paramore. So like I could go dashingly into your window and just be like, I am a sexy swashbuckler. 3 hearts. I don't know how that mechanic works, but you can play romance is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You can play the romance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any additional thoughts on Court of Blades?
No, not really. That one.
Okay.
Again, you're going to find me be very cool on all the role-playing games because, like I said before, I'm suffering a crisis of appreciation for participating in role-playing games.
Okay. But what if we were in a future
I can't
where a
speculate on something
survivor
that
of
doesn't
humanity
exist. Nope.
has spread to the stars, and now you piloted a mech in a grim dark? Did you just have booze fly out of your nose?
What?
Technical difficulties for old men. Ow.
Well, our next one is called Lancer, and it's a darker version of BattleTech.
Okay.
Yeah. So you play a mech pilot, and you go around the universe fighting for freedom in really cool battle mechs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a role-playing game.
It is a role-playing game.
Okay, so if you really love MechWarrior and BattleTech, is there
This is a good alternative.
Is there a role-playing game in that world already that I'm just not aware of? Or is BattleTech just a skirmish miniatures game? I don't know. So,
You know what?
if not, or even if there is, but it's prohibitively expensive, Lancer is $25 for, so maybe that is a good option.
Oh, there is one. It's called A Time of War.
So,
I know nothing about it though.
okay.
takes place during the Inner Sphere Jihad. So it's actually pretty early on. So you've got all the political machinations and everything. But yeah, I think Lancer is probably a really good alternative to that.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. It's also fresh new mechs. So, something about Battletech and Mech Warrior is that is a known quantity. You're not really building a world for that. If you like the idea of big fighting robots, but you don't want to tell a story that's already been told or work in that universe, Lancer really gives you an opportunity to make your own.
Yeah. One of their pieces of art here also, there's a mech here firing a battery of missiles, and they're
Mac crossing.
They're roboteching. It's all over everywhere. So they're going to seem to be borrowing heavily from existing
sources.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be honest, the last two, I am not sure if they really count as indie. I think they do. I'm willing to be corrected in the comments. The first option is Frostgrave, which is best described as an indie version of Mordheim. Another miniature agnostic game. But Frostgrave was created by Warlord Games as a new version of Mordheim, because it was made by Mordheim players who loved Mordheim, but couldn't play Mordheim anymore. So they made their own.
Why couldn't they play Mordheim anymore?
I don't have good answers for you on that. I think
they just wanted to make their own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Mordheim is no longer supported, and
correct. It is currently on its second edition. Also, the mechanics are a little bit different. As I understand it, and I am willing to be corrected. Everybody in Frostgrave starts with a sorcerer or wizard, and then you have a supporting crew of people that fight with you. They also have a sci-fi version called Stargrave that operates the same way, where you've got a crew of people, but it's a captain and then everybody else. So yeah, so if you weren't going to play Mordheim, this is a really good option. Again, miniature agnostic, although they do make their own.
Yeah.
And still has that grim, dark fighting in a city feel.
And looking through, I mean, it does appear to be. I mean, this is a fantasy-themed game. This is not sci-fi.
No, Stargrave is the sci-fi.
Got it.
Yeah.
They have lots of miniature lines, it looks like, or kits.
A lot of boxes. But as you can see, like
faction boxes.
They're also a lot cheaper. You're not paying your James Workshop prices here.
Are they though?
Well, yeah, because you're getting an entire Goblin Warband for $40 instead of $40 for $10. For $32, you get all your Frostgrave Barbarians. Human cavalry on horses. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And this is a smaller company. It doesn't even have the same kind of discount because of, big production.
Yeah.
And then the last one is Malifaux, which we've talked about on the show before.
Yes.
But I don't know if Weird Games counts as being indie.
Why not?
Considering I don't know if they're too big to be considered indie, but they're definitely a smaller alternative to Games Workshop.
Are they in A24 Studios?
I don't really know. I feel like they've been around a really long time, and they've got. I mean,
really,
there is no shortage of the stuff that they've been putting out. Malifaux, as it is on the third edition of the game. There are, 16 different factions, all that are supported with a core box and then 3 to 5 backup boxes of things that you can buy.
That sounds a little Games Workshop-y to me.
It's like I said, it's pretty big. But
Yeah.
the nice thing about Malifaux is your buy-in cost is significantly lower, and it uses a card system for randomization instead of dice. So, I mean, I'll leave it to the people. You let me know. Is Malifaux too big to be considered indie on this list? I'm interested to find out. But it is a fun game. It's a very fun game. It's a very tactical game. You want to be strategic, and all of the different war bands work very differently. It's not like you're learning just one mode of play and they can transfer that over to all of them. The core rules are the same, but all of them fight very differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have played this.
I have played Malifaux.
Do you have a Malifaux faction, or were you at a store that was doing a thing? How did you play Malifaux?
So Joel, who I've talked about on the show before, who I play 40K with, he has dipped his toe in far more games, and he has enough war bands for Malifaux for 2 people. He was able to supply me with a war band to play.
Got it.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So those are some of the alternatives that I found because they're the things that interest me. So let us know in the comments what independent games interest you. What are the kind of things that you like to play? I'm looking forward to reading that one. And that's other tabletop things.
Neat.
Pretty cool, right? Okay, so a couple of those things had to interest you, though. Like in a vacuum.
I mean, didn't I say?
Yeah.
Didn't I?
Like if you
Didn't I
had to pick right
express
now,
any interest in them while you were talking about them?
you did. But like now I'm asking if push came to shove, is there one of these that you would be like, hey, let's pick that up. Let's do that.
Many hours later.
The skirmishy ones sounded interesting, like Rain in Hell or Space Station Zero. I mean, Frostgrave and Malifaux sound interesting as well, but you seem to have been including them reluctantly because you weren't sure if they were really counted as indie.
I'm worried they're too big, but
Which
they're smaller than Wizards of the Coast and Games Workshop.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I mean, how big do you have to be before you suddenly aren't indie anymore?
right, because like
What
first
makes it
place
indie?
is
Indie, they're not owned by a major corporate, Hasbro or
yeah.
Milton Bradley.
That's fair. Well, what do you say we talk about what we're hyped about?
No games for old men.
Dan, is there anything that you're hyped about this week?
Yes, but it's not. I always feel bad because my things that I'm hyped about are very rarely tabletop related because that's your thing.
We're not related.
You're the tabletop guy.
But what we're hyped about does not have to be tabletop related.
This isn't.
It's what we're hyped about. It helps build personality so people connect with you about things that they also like. It's building that parasocial relationship so everyone feels connected to us.
Oh my God.
Connected.
Okay, well, this week we got gameplay, like the pre-alpha gameplay footage from, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm about to say?
I'm not sure. I think so, but I'm not sure.
Miasma Chronicles.
That is not even
Not
what
what
I
you
thought
thought
you were
I
going
was
to
going
say.
to say. What did you think I was going to say?
There was just that big gaming convention that happened, and so IGN released like 1 million coming games, And the one I'm thinking of is a first-person shooter that takes place in, like, what if Russia was still a like major power and the Cold War was still going on, and I forget the name of it now.
Atomic Heart?
Yes, Atomic Heart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's out now. There's like everybody's playing that except for me. No, that's not it. No, this game is not out yet. It is Miasma Chronicles. This is developed by Bearded Ladies, who are the developers of Mutant Year Zero.
Oh, neat.
This is their new game, and I am very much looking forward to it. I was interested originally when it was announced because I had just finished Mutant Year Zero, and I thought, okay, another game by these folks, I'm on board. And there's been very little information about it, but yesterday they dropped 16 minutes of gameplay footage.
Nice.
And it looks similar enough to Mutant Year Zero that if you enjoyed Mutant Year Zero, you'll enjoy this. Like the combat is very similar. There are some differences, so it's not exactly the same, but I'm excited to play it. I don't watch movie trailers because I don't want anything spoiled for me. I don't feel the same way about gameplay trailers, game footage, because for some reason, if I watch gameplay teases, that actually gets me excited to play the game. Whereas if I watch a movie trailer, I feel like, well, I've probably just seen the best parts of the movie.
Right.
But 16 minutes of gameplay, this game is going to take
40 hours.
Who knows how many hours?
Yeah.
Probably 20. But it's such a small slice, and if you like Mutant Year Zero, I would encourage you to check out Miasma Chronicles. It just looks so interesting, and I really enjoyed the world that they built for Mutant Year Zero, and this looks similar, but whereas when you go to the Ark in Mutant Year Zero, you're just clicking on like the store and you click on the bar, and it like opens up kind of more of like an interactive menu. But when you go to town in Mutant Year Zero, Miasma Chronicles, it is it's still open worldy. You can still wander around and talk to people and stuff like that. So
that's really cool.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, check out the link down below and see what you think of Miasma Chronicles. This ties directly into what I'm hyped about this week, and that is the return of Mutant Year Zero. The playthrough. Yeah. I am overtly excited
about me playing the Seed of Evil DLC?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I forgot how much I love the details that are in the level design. In the episode that was released today, episode 2.
Yes.
The characters walked by a car and an army of roaches ran out from underneath.
Just exploded from underneath.
And it's little things like that. It's the little stupid little things like that that I'm just like, oh, no, you didn't have to do that. That's wonderful. Right. I'm glad you used the processing power for that. That's great. I also really like the story build for that game, and how it really puts you in jeopardy. It just picks you up and goes, go, just do it. And, so that's what I'm hyped about this week, is being able to see more Mutant Year Zero.
Oh, wow. Cool. We'll check it out tomorrow. New episode tomorrow.
Oh, I will indeed. I know I will. I since Dan won't edit his own shorts. I have to edit his shorts.
I'll get around to it. It's just can't wrap my head around it. What makes an interesting short? I don't play a game. I don't play a game to create a short. I don't even, it's just that's not what I don't think of that while I'm even putting an episode together. So I'm like, ooh, that's cool. That would make a good short. That's just not where my head is.
So I'm going to start with, since we're only a couple episodes in as of this recording, I am downloading and pulling shorts so that it'll be more than just our talking heads on our TikTok channel or TikTok page. But that is what we're hyped about.
Okay.
Dan?
Huh.
It's another long episode.
It is.
Another long episode.
It is. You have to cut
I feel
half
good
of
about
this.
it, though.
You have to cut half of it.
I'm not cutting half of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Probably 17 minutes.
Cut 26 minutes
20.
out of it.
Who are you, Fox? But yeah, good times.
Mhm.
Good times. Looking
Yeah.
forward to next week. Continue as you continue on your progress, and I catch up to my progress, so that we've got some walls to go into.
I enjoyed exploring the indie games.
That was fun, right?
Those were interesting to go through and see what else is out there, because really my vision is so narrow when it comes to this kind of thing. So if it's not something I'm already aware of, I'm probably never going to hear about it. And there's a lot of games out there, a lot of game designers who are making things that are worthy of attention. So,
Yeah. Again, let us know what your favorites are.
yeah.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow us on all of the other socials. Well, not all of them. We're only on 2. We're on TikTok and Instagram because to hell with Facebook and Twitter, and Pinterest. I'm not doing Pinterest. I'm not doing it. But we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
No games.